Okay, today we're going to talk about the surface area of prisms. Okay, and the surface area, you can see the definition up here, is the sum of the areas of all surfaces, or the faces, of a 3D figure. Okay, so it's kind of like if you were wrapping presents, right? We're talking about how much wrapping paper would I need to cover the outside faces of it, right? Not that we don't care about what's on the inside. Now we care about what's on the outside of these presents. In this case, how much would we need to cover the surface area of those boxes? So we start by looking at the actual prisms themselves. We have here a rectangular prism, and a triangular prism. Okay, what we need to look at first is identify what different shapes are there on the prism and how many of each are there. So on this rectangular prism, the question is how many rectangles do we see on the outside, right? How many faces do we see on this box? In this case, there are 6 rectangles and 0 triangles, right? You see we have a front, we have a back on the back side there. Okay, we have a top, we have a bottom, we have a left, and we have a right side. There are 6 different faces on a rectangular prism. Whereas a triangular prism, we have, try and take a guess here, the number of rectangles is going to be 3. One on this long face here, one on the bottom, and one on the back side back here. Okay, and how many triangles do we see on a rectangular prism? That would be 2. One on the front, and one back here on the back. Okay, so you need to identify how many shapes there are and what shapes are they. And then we're going to use our knowledge of area of those shapes to find the total area of the total surface area of the prism. So let's look here. I have a rectangular prism. Okay, so we just talked about we're going to have a top, a bottom, a left, a right, a front, and a back to this rectangular prism. So what's the area of the top up here? Well, we know for the area of a rectangle, the area is going to be the base times the height, which is 7. Right? This rectangle here is 9 inches across and 7 inches tall. 9 times 7 makes the top 63 square inches. In fact, the bottom will be the exact same. It's a 9 by 7 rectangle down here. The next set we can look at are maybe the left and the right. That left rectangle is right over here. It's 7 inches across and 13 inches tall. And to find the area of a rectangle, it's the base times the height, or 13 times 7, which is 91 square inches. And it's actually the same thing on the right side rectangle here. On the right, 7 across, 13 down. Right, 7 across the top here, 13 down here is going to be 91 square inches. I'm going to clear this board up. Okay, and our last one is our front and back. Our front rectangle is 9 inches across here and 13 inches down. See, this the front rectangle is 9 by 13. Okay, it'll actually be the same on the back as well. The back side is also 9 by 13. Okay, and so we know 9 times 13 is going to be 117 square inches. Okay, so 117, and to find the total surface area then, we're going to add all of these together. To get 542 square inches. Okay, so a quick reminder here, to find the top, we did, and the top and the bottom, we did a 9 times 7. The left and the right, we did 7 times 13. And on the front and the back, we had a 9 by 13 rectangle. Okay, got another one here. So let's do the top. The top rectangle is going to be 10 inches across, and 10 meters across and 3 meters deep. The 10 by 3 rectangle up there. And it's going to be the same on the bottom as well. Right, the same exact shape down on the bottom as well. 10 by 3. Okay, so that'll be 30 for the top and 30 for the bottom. For the left and the right, it is 3 meters across here and 6 meters down on that left side rectangle. This is going to be 3 by 6, which is 18 square meters. And it'll be the same on the right. 3 across, 6 down. And front and back, the front is 10 meters across and 6 meters down. So it's a 10 by 6 on the front and the back. You can see the back is also 10 across and 6 down. That's going to be 60 square meters. Okay, so we found every single rectangle's area, right? The top and the bottom rectangles, the left and the right rectangles, and the front and back rectangle areas. So we found the area of all 6 of those rectangles on the outside. If we add them all together, we can find the total surface area of the entire prism. Okay. So when I add them all together, I'm going to get 216 square meters. Triangular prisms are exactly the same. You just got to be really careful about identifying, okay, what are my different shapes, right? And what are their dimensions and what are their areas? So when we look at a triangular prism, it's going to have 2 bases, right? Essentially the front and the back triangle. Okay, so my base 1 is going to be this triangle right here, right? My base 2 is going to be the back triangle. They'll be exactly the same dimensions, exactly the same areas. Okay, so we'll use the same area for both base 1 and base 2, or triangle 1 and triangle 2. Remember that the area of a triangle is 1/2 of the base times the height. So the base of this triangle is 3 centimeters across here. And the height, remember the height is the perpendicular height, meaning it's the one that's at a right angle or a 90-degree angle. So it's going to be this height here, which is 2 centimeters. And like I said, it'll be the same on the back triangle because they're the same dimensions. And 1/2 of 3 times 2, or 1/2 of 6, is 3. Now for the rectangles, the sides, the 3 sides here. It doesn't matter what order you go in. I'll start on the right side, I'll go to the left, then I'll do the bottom. So let's look at this right side rectangle here. I can see the height of it is 2.5 centimeters. And the length of it is 4 centimeters. Okay, so it's a 2.5 by 4 centimeter rectangle. Okay, when I multiply those two, it'll be 10 square centimeters. Let's look at the left side rectangle now. Now this one's kind of tricky because it's on the back side of the prism, so we're kind of having to use our imaginations here. But across the top, that's going to be 4 centimeters across there. And down this side, right, because it's on that back end back there, going down here, it's also 2.5. So it's 4 across and 2.5 down, which also makes this one 10 centimeters squared in area. And our last one, down here on the bottom, the dimensions of this rectangle on the bottom are 3 centimeters across and 4 centimeters long, and 3 times 4 is 12 centimeters. Okay, so on the top in blue here, we have our 2 triangle areas. Triangle 1 was 3 centimeters. Triangle 2 was 3 centimeters squared as well. Both of our side rectangles were 10 centimeters squared for area, right? They were both 2.5 by 4 centimeters. And our bottom, the bottom rectangle down here was a 3 by 4, making it 12 square centimeters. Okay, and just like the rectangular prism, when I add them all together, all my surface areas, all 5 of them here, right? 2 triangles. Okay, and my 3 rectangles. When I add them all together, it'll be 38 square centimeters. Last one. So same thing as before. My base 1 and my base 2 are both my triangles. My front triangle up here, and the one on the back that we can't really see. Okay, so to find the area of this triangle, it'll be 1/2 of the base, which is 4 inches across here, times the height of that triangle, which is not the 3.6, right? That's the slanted height. We want the perpendicular height here, 3 inches. Okay, so the area of both my triangles is 1/2 of 4 times 3, 4 being the base and 3 being the perpendicular height. 4 times 3 is 12, and half of that is 6 square inches. Okay, so we got the triangles out of the way there. My 2 triangles have an area of 6 square inches each. Let's do those rectangles now. How about this long front side rectangle we can see pretty easily? The length of it is 14 inches. And its height is 3.6 inches. Okay, so it's 14 inches long, 3.6 inches wide, and 14 times 3.6 is going to be 50.4 square inches. So that's one rectangle down. We know we have 2 left. Okay, let's do that invisible one on the back side there. Okay, not the bottom rectangle, the back side rectangle. So back over here, there's a rectangle too. Okay, we just can't see it. But we do know it's 14 inches long. We can see across the top there, right? It's 14 inches long for sure. And the height of that rectangle is 3.6, right? It's 14 inches long and 3.6 inches wide. Okay, 14 times 3.6 is going to be, again, 50.4 square inches. One more rectangle. It's on the bottom there. Again, we can't see it very well, but we know it's there. Okay, so it's definitely down there. We know it's 4 inches wide. Right, 4 inches wide here. And it is 14 inches long. We know that because it's the same up here, right? It's 14 inches long up here. It's also 14 inches long down here. So it's 4 inches wide and 14 inches long. That makes the area 56 square inches. Okay, so if I add my 2 triangles along with my 3 rectangle areas, I get 168.8 square inches. Okay, so again, we need to make sure when we talk about surface area, we're talking about the entire outside of the prism, covering the outside of the prism with wrapping paper or paint or something like that. Right? How much paint would we need to paint the outsides of these boxes, of these triangular prisms? If we find the area of all the different faces on them, right? If I find the area, the surface area of all 6 faces of these Christmas presents here, right? I can find the area of the entire prism.